I'm Claudia Hernandez, and I'm Benicio's mom.
My name is Ashley, and I am mother of this boy, Magnus Solomon. There he goes.
Hi, I'm Janine. I am the mama of Aya Jade.
My name is Marta Gonzalez, and I am Sandino, Jose Maria Sandino Gonzalez Flores' mother.
For so many mujeres, it seems like we have to decide, choose between ourselves and our children, our desire to create art and our desire to create life. But life is art, and art is life. We shouldn't have to choose between two beautiful and important worlds. Some revolutionary women are transforming ordinary beliefs, changing with our children, and living to create worlds that we have envisioned, not just for our children, but for us all. We are creators of dreams and weavers of realities. We don fine threads made up of passion for ourselves, our children, and the world.
Baby boy is coming. Baby boy is coming. Your whole life will change. Your whole life will change. Baby boy is coming.
I think I tried to envision the type of mom that I would be. And of course, you always think of yourself as the ultimate super mom. You're gonna be so understanding and so this and that. But of course, that's reality strikes again.
I never really thought of what parenthood would be like. I just figured that I wasn't going to think about that until it happened. But I did know that I was going to do a lot of things different for my child than what was done for me.
I had an idea of what motherhood was like because I have so many women in my family, that I've seen a lot of mothering in different styles. Even though you try to be a certain way or you thought you'd be a certain way, you end up being this other way, which is sometimes not necessarily bad, but it just makes sense at that moment.
I just tried to stay as open as possible, knowing that I didn't know what it was going to be like, knowing that I didn't want to take on anybody else's experience and let that get into my head. And yeah, having a clear vision of what I would like to be happen, but knowing just to be flexible because, the one thing I didn't want was to be disappointed with my birth. I mean, the point is, I had a child, the gift was here, so the experience to get there was part of it. I didn't want to be like, ugh.
I labored for as long as I could. I had done the whole hypnobirthing tapes, and I was telling myself, oh, this isn't going to be painful. Don't think about it as pain. You have to change the way you think about things. It's pressure. It's something abstract. It's everything, but it's not pain. And when it hit, I was like, oh, fuck that. It's pain.
I didn't know I was in labor till I was in it, And I had the midwife come over here and say, you're in labor. And by then I was already in like this weird trance dealing with the pain, and I was going to try to do it natural. And it was a total of 27 hours, which ended in a C-section. And that was really sad and difficult for me to kind of handle. But I had read enough to know that it wasn't my fault, and that, I had to just kind of make peace with the outcome, and just be happy that the baby was born healthy.
Just from the very beginning of labor, it was a very odd concept for me to get up and pack my things and go someplace else to have my baby. That was just a weird concept to me from the beginning. So that alone kind of probably began to alter what the rest of the labor was going to be like, because in the hospital it was totally out of my control.
And then I felt Benny getting pulled out of me, and I heard the little cry, and I was like, oh, he's born, and it's making me cry now. This is so funny. But, they pulled him out, and I told Chad, I was so, like, protective. I was like, you stay with him, okay? And I felt dirty from all the stuff that had been attached to me and all the stuff that I didn't even want to touch him at first. But the nurse was, like, being so cool, She brought this baby, put him on my chest, and I could see this, like, little face looking at me with these big eyes, and it was so cute.
The way I feel for him now was not the way I felt for him the first day he was born. I looked at him the way I remember my mom telling me, she goes, va a tomar tiempo. Tú vas a ver que un día tú tienes, no puedes, sientes como que no puedes vivir sin él. Y el día que se te vaya de la casa, tú ni te puedes imaginar cómo yo me sentía. Chicos, después de años y años, pero yo no, la primera vez que los vi, yo no me sentía así. By my mom telling me that, I felt human. Like, at first I was like, why, what's wrong with me? Like, I look at him and, people would say, oh, isn't this the love you've never felt before? Don't you just feel like, oh, it's so in love with him? And I'm like looking at him like, he looks like a frog, It's like, you don't necessarily feel that, but I did feel the sense of urgency to take care of him. But it wasn't like, oh, the love and, oh, motherhood and like the flowers and all that. No, there's vomit and there's burping and there's shit everywhere, and like you feel like shit, like, it's not all of that. And not only that, you're dealing with all these people that are coming by to see your baby, and you're, hey, so much is happening, and slowly you start, like, things settle, and then it's like you start developing this love.
Hi. Hi, sweet pea. Ben? Go, Mama. Having a baby gave me the impetus to just get things done. But at the same time, it also awakened a creativity in me where when I was pregnant, I really wanted to create and make things alive. I made like 2 belly casts with my mom. I did a lot of journaling and drawing in my journals, and I was, doing jewelry, making jewelry with my mom, and, writing and reading and just thinking, more creatively. And my identity before college had been more of the artist. When I got into college, I started developing more of an academic identity, more of a learning identity, and just focusing on other areas like dance. I developed a dance identity, but before that it had just been art. And I feel like getting pregnant and having Benny sort of brought me back circle to this part of me that I had kind of put aside and let sleep while I pursued other interests. And so now it sort of all started coming back to, fill me and give me a really sense of not leaving a part of myself behind. Now I've found ways of engaging my written work in a creative way. I've been writing more and doing creative things, and of course with the kids, we make art together, and with him and my niece, and we play with clay and we do different things. And so that really is fulfilling for me, and it made me realize that I really wanted to pursue children's literature and write for kids and do my own illustrating. And now I'm solid. I know I want to do that. I've found a way to integrate everything. It's just this process of feeling grounded and sometimes not grounded, but yet it's part of being grounded.
I was doing a lot of meditating and praying 3-4 months before he was conceived, and my main thing was intention. Like, God, please show me and tell me my intention in life. I'm just ready to get on with it. Then he came. I felt that my calling in life, like my purpose, wouldn't really come to fruition until I had my family. And I remember as I was saying it, I was like, God, that sounds really weird, but it sounds what it is. And lo and behold, like, it was right on point, I mean, literally, he came. He was about 6 months after he was born that the space appeared. I would always look for spaces and just call and check and see how much they were, just, again, doing homework. and this space was affordable. When you have a kid, it brings basically miracles, and it brings money, and it brings all these things come with them. Almost as though, you know, the angels and everything are around them, so of course it's coming. It has nothing to do with us, you know, it's them making sure they're protected, and it happened. I mean, all these things started happening, you know, yeah, to just make sure that we could be and be well, you know, things I couldn't have made happen at all on my own. For the first time in my life, I was starting to really lay down boundaries and not take in so much what other people were saying, and really thinking forward about what my motherhood would be and how I wanted my relationship with my child to be, and set it, you know, because I very much will take in everybody's ideas and think, and oh, well, that has a point and this has a point, and I still believe in that, but this came a time where it was like, no, this is what Ashley believes, and this is gonna be our way, and the only time it'll be up for discussion is within our family. It just inspires me to be on point, you know, be on point with what I'm doing, be on point with making the world that I've always been thinking on and dreaming on and working towards a reality, you know, not something that's in reach, but something that is right here, you know, that I'm operating in. So it's like, it's phenomenal, and it keeps me like, I'm more than a hamster on a wheel now, you know, like I have to really balance myself so I don't get anxiety, because I'm just really wanting to like work, you know, work for myself, for him, yeah.
I think that motherhood has influenced me creatively, and more so than I thought. When I was really pregnant, I must have been like 7 months pregnant. I was really big, but we had to compose for a play, and I don't think things have ever flowed so quickly. And I wasn't talking about motherhood in the songwriting, nothing of the sort, right? But the ideas I would come up with, just came to me. They related to the play. I wrote, I sang in it, you know. I was really tired. I would take naps. I'd wake up, Quetzal would say, we need another verse for this song. And so I'd write the verse, and it would just come out. And I really liked the work that I came up with in that time. I've had to steal time. And I realized I used to waste a lot of time. Just sitting around, I think I want to do this one day, and I want to do, just fucking wasted all kinds of time. I realize that now, because I was applying for grants recently, and whenever I could get away for an hour or 2 hours, I'd say, okay, Quetzal, can I get away? He's like, yes, go ahead and write. So I'd go get my computer, go to the coffee shop, I'd sit down, and I swear the shit would just pour out. It would just pour out, because I didn't have an hour for leisure time. I wouldn't get any coffee. I'd sit down, I'd start writing. My 2 hours would be up. I'd have to be back, and there I was, you know. Because I waste no time now. I realize when I have creative time, I use it. Because it's funny, even now I start feeling like, when is it going to get easier, or when am I going to have more time, or when? And I have to stop looking at it like that, you know. And this is all along with all this other part of like liking being a mother, liking doing all these things, you know. But it's just, it's tough, man. When you have all this creative energy and you want to get it out there, it's difficult for you to you know, exert it when you have somebody tugging at your shirt all the time, you know. Yeah. And it's okay, but that's just the way it is. The hardest thing is thinking myself as a separate person, you know, like where I haven't changed, you know. I became a mother, but before then I was somebody who liked to go and sit at a coffee shop and read or write I was a musician. I would go and I'd go on tour for months, month and a half, come back home, get up late, I like kids. I always liked kids, but just I'm still me, I still want the same things, and as much as I love my son and I love spending time with him and and everything, it's still difficult for me to be there with him and hang out with him, and then still sometimes long for having that time that I used to have. And then it's like the whole guilt of like, oh shit, what kind of a mother am I if I still want to do all these things, or if I still feel the urge and the need to want to express myself and want to, and not have the time because this other person's constantly demanding your time. And then by the same token, like you still feel very much drawn and want to be there because you don't want anybody else touching them or handling them or
I think that being a mom has made me have more determination. It kind of means more. If I'm taking the time to read a book, I really take it in and really want to learn because again, time is so precious. I really had taken learning for granted before, whereas now it's like, I'm taking this time to read this and like, really get into it and get the most that I can out of it. I figure that just like having a baby is a gestational process. I think that making art is also a gestational process, and it's not really about the product that comes out in the end, but more of the process that you go through to get to that point. So the most important thing right now is for me to stay home with my baby and be there for her. And so with that territory comes not having any money, which is very, very real situation for many mothers. If I'm going to take the time to work on something, it should be working on something that I would want for myself. And so I'm trying to get together a baby photography business, taking pictures of babies, pregnant women, or families, things like that, things that are friendly to my baby. Like they'd be all right with taking Io Jade with me to a shoot or something like that. They'd be more understanding. So I'm trying to do that this year and really not be so nonchalant about it, but to really focus on building that business and following through on that. I've learned a lot about how our society is really not about building a bond between mother and children or building a bond between people, and how it's just not nurturing to creating life in general. And so my goal is kind of just, if I could help a friend through her pregnancy or share with somebody some, natural method of curing constipation per se, things like that, I think are little tiny steps in me helping someone else realize, there are other things you can do. You don't have to go to the doctor and get some crazy antibiotic, or unless it really comes down to that. That there are natural options, and options that are more friendly towards life, more friendly to the planet.
I want him to be a peaceful warrior. If he stands up for something that isn't right, I want him to feel okay standing up for it, even if it means standing alone. Right? See? ¿Verdad?
Okay.
He doesn't even know what I'm enlisting him for.
I hope that he has the sense of social obligation, for community, for the world, for the environment.
I want him to be someone who stands up for his truth. I want him to know it. I want him to speak it. I've always had a thing. I believe in respect. I believe in elders, but I've never believed in someone just because they're older or whatever that hierarchy is, being able to put something on somebody. If he's 5 and somebody's doing something wrong, I want him to feel confident saying, no, excuse me, that's not what it is for me.
I really hope that I can open up a lot of doors for her to realize that, you know, you have options. You can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this, and to really recognize choices.
Becoming a mother has helped me see that it's really important that I do what I love. And this video is a reflection of my desire to continue creating, and how my child has nurtured that, has allowed me to grow, has really made me see why it's important that I do what I love for myself, because it not only helps me and others, but it helps her. And I hope that one day she can also do what she loves with a passion.
Just I'm glad you're doing this. It's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people take interest in mothers, you know, or the after thought of, like, you know, artists who are like to do creative mothers, you know. I think that's really cool. And just so you guys all know, she just went inside to check on her baby halfway through this interview. So so she's a mother too. The filmmaker is a mother.